let's waste no time and get right into it. Saturday afternoon, Cincinnati heads into Nashville to face the number 1 seed Tennessee Titans. Titans are a 4-point favorite and have a 59.5% chance of winning, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, henceforth known as the FPI. Let's break it down here. So, obviously, I think it should be obvious at least, the Bengals have the advantage in the passing game. Burrow threw for more yards with fewer attempts, 10 more touchdowns, same amount of interceptions at 14, but again, he outthrew Tannehill by nearly 1,000 yards and had 10 more touchdowns on 11 fewer attempts. He completed 9 more of those attempts, pardon me. So clear advantage here in the passing game. That's not even talking about Jamar Chase versus A.J. Brown. And yes, Julio Jones caught his first touchdown of the season at the end of the Titans' run, but he has not been the same. You can take it from me as a fantasy football champion who dropped Julio. I don't expect him to have some sort of renaissance this week. So passing game, clear check mark to the Bengals, but will it be enough? Now, the big news is Derrick Henry's return. 937 yards, 10 touchdowns on 219 carries. This guy was the king of the NFL running game until he broke his foot. Still finished 9th in the league despite not playing virtually the entire second half of the regular season. But Joe Mixon's no slouch here either. 292 carries, 1,205 yards, and 13 touchdowns. So granted, that's a full season, so not at quite the same pace Derrick Henry was on by any means, but still a very quality back, good in the passing game, can definitely seal off a win and pick up some key first downs. Good runner, good pass catcher. This is not as big of an advantage to me as it might be to some. We haven't seen Derrick Henry play. Yes, I've seen some amazing tweets that point out that Derrick Henry is in fact more healthy now than he would have been had he played the entire season, which I guess breaking news. It takes a journalism degree to figure that one out, boys. Anyway, running advantage to the Titans, but it's not, in my opinion, nearly as definitive or as advantageous as the Bengals' advantage in the passing game. So that takes us to the defense, which I have to say, Tennessee has to have the advantage here. They have the ability with their front four to keep constant pressure on the quarterback. And while Joe Burrow is fantastic against the blitz, he has done a great job of making his O-line look better than they are. He has covered for them throughout the majority of the regular season. The Titans don't blitz hardly at all. Approximately 17% of downs. And they blitz the second fewest number of times in the NFL, yet generate an insane amount of pressure just with their front four. So today may be the day that the Bengals O-line is exposed, and there may not be as much Joe Burrow can do about it because the Titans will likely not be blitzing, or at least they'll blitz on less than 20% of his snaps today. So there will be a lot of coverage and potentially not much time to throw the ball, which could reduce, if not completely remove, the Bengals' passing advantage in this game. So it's going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be close. If Cincinnati's able to get an early lead of at least 10 points, I think They have the ability to control the ball, as we mentioned previously with Mixon, and they will not. They will stay aggressive. They will not get passive and be afraid. So I do think they could maintain a lead throughout the game. But if this one stays close and the Titans are allowed to run the ball 25 to 30 times and Derrick Henry is in fact ready to go, then it's really hard to bet against a Titans team that's been bet against all year, at least as far as wins and losses. Now, my final pick here is the Titans by 3. So they would lose against the spread, but a 3-point win. Now, I'm rooting for the Bengals, so I want to see win, but I just have a hard time. This Titans team is well coached. Vrabel has a great record when he has more than 8 days to prepare, and so I don't know. I think the Titans are going to come in a little healthier, a little stronger, and determined, because they are kind of overlooked right now as the number 1 seed. They're really not being given the credit that those in the locker room believe they deserve. So it's going to be a tough out. Moving on to the night game. San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are 5.5-point favorites here in Green Bay, with the FPI giving the Packers an astounding 65% chance to win. This looks like it's not even going to be close. However, this is going to be a cold weather game, which history would tell you is a major plus for the Packers, except that the Packers have not done well in these bad weather games in recent years, nor are they a team that is built to play in these frozen tundra style games. They don't have a horrible running game by any means. Aaron Jones is solid as far as A.J. Dillon. I'm sure plenty of fantasy managers can attest, will raise their glass to A.J. Dillon. But when looking at these two teams and what they do best offensively, the Niners, despite Jimmy Garoppolo being at this point notoriously bad in bad weather, it won't be as significant as a damper on what the Niners do. We're talking about a team that puts their best wideout in at running back and gets him the ball that way. We're talking about a team that for years has just been able to, at random, produce quality running backs like Raheem Mostert. This is a team whose identity is built on the ground and with a short passing game, with a guy like Kittle. Again, we mentioned Deebo Samuel. I mean, this team isn't burning you deep anyway. So them playing in the cold weather, despite being from San Francisco, this might play to their advantage a little bit. That's not to mention the fact that I expect Shanahan to have a game plan that includes a few plays. I'm going to say about 5, maybe 7. We'll call it a window of 3 to 7 plays where Trey Lance is lined up doing some sort of read option situation. I even expect at least one play with Trey Lance in the backfield, in the shotgun, with Deebo Samuel lined up right next to him. And I think that the 49ers have a great ability through their play calling and their gadget plays and just their overall flexibility with their offensive personnel. You look at Juszczyk, their fullback, one of the few fullbacks, if maybe certainly the most active fullback in any offense in the NFL. The Niners could be built to handle this a little bit better than Green Bay is, unless Aaron Rodgers is just able to do those MVP style things. Obviously, passing game, even with the potential weather impacts, has to be a tip here to Aaron Rodgers, and he's probably going to be the MVP. So you've got that going. Rushing game, I give it to San Francisco. Receivers, point advantage to Green Bay because they have the advantage at quarterback, but Deebo Samuel is a beast. Devontae Adams, they're both studs, but One has Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. The other one has Jimmy overthrow, which is something maybe we should talk about. Going back to the last time the Niners made a deep run where Jimmy Garoppolo had some very poor throws. He has a knack for just some really, really poor throws at just the wrong time in the playoffs. I expect a couple of these this week. And they probably won't be interceptions. They probably won't be major turnovers. But those passes on 3rd and 3 where you sky one over a guy's head, you just can't afford to have it at this time of the season against this good of a team that's had all week. Apparently, they've been preparing just for you for the last 2 weeks, and Jimmy just has to be his best self this week to give the Niners a chance. And with all that being said, the Packers should win this one. They really should. I mean, they're nearly a touchdown favorite. But I think what's destined to happen here is a Green Bay Packers collapse, not a blowout by any means, but a loss in this game, which they should absolutely win, will then increase the turmoil and the pressure and the stress, and Aaron Rodgers will be the talk of the town the entire offseason. We'll have a wild offseason where at least 6 or 7, if not half of the NFL, throws their hat in the ring to try to acquire the talents of Aaron Rodgers or maybe Russell Wilson. So that's what I got to go with. I have to pick what I believe will happen despite what the numbers, despite what the game plans tell me. I think the time is perfect for the Green Bay Packers to lose here and spiral into what I guess will be the Jordan Love era. Niners by 2, beating the spread, and the Packers on a late game field goal of some kind, either a made one by the Niners or a missed one by the Packers after a great Aaron Rodgers drive. You pick. I don't care. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to Bite Size Sports. Be on the lookout tomorrow for the second half of the divisional round predictions. We will wrap this whole thing up after it's all said and done, starting Monday. Talking about next week, what will we have in the AFC and NFC championships. Until next time.